Age ain't nothing but a number, and reaching the golden age of 50 doesn't have to be a negative thing. I'm chatting with a life coach about how life can be finer after 50. But first, here's Good Day's Paul Milliken. Paul, good morning. Well, finding purpose and balance in your life can sometimes feel like an uphill battle, especially once you've hit your 5th decade of life. Well, life coach and author Kwavi is helping us navigate through life's challenges, giving them the tools, giving folks the tools they need to feel empowered. And she joins us live this morning with details on that. Good morning, Kwavi. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it is a pleasure. It really is. Well, tell us first, why did you decide to do this book, and with really just focusing on those 50 and older?
All right. So really the reason why I wrote this book was I want women in their 50s and beyond to fall in love with themselves one question at a time. And the reason why I even decided to do that was a few years ago, I was probably like 48, and I wanted to just kind of interview women in their 50s and over and just kind of find out from them, like, what's going on? What kind of advice can you give to me since I'm going into this golden age? And I was disappointed because I would say about 80% of the women I interviewed described themselves as invisible. And I was like, wow, that was just heartbreaking.
Oh, yeah, but definitely. And you talk about having your own reinvention story. Can you tell us about your journey and your personal and professional reinvention story?
Yeah, so I started off in IT, which was my career. I did that, but I always had this yearning to do health and wellness. And so about 8 years ago, I just decided, you know what, I'm just going to do it. And so I became a health and wellness coach. And then probably 2 years ago, I then switched after I had these interviews with women in their 50s and over, and I said, you know what, my calling is really being able to help women in their 50s and over create the best life on their own terms. And so I kind of did another pivot and switched. And so now I help women 50 and over just create the best life that they want for themselves.
Oh, that is so nice to hear too. And like you're saying too about the feeling invisible, there are so many women who have those fears of, doubt that they can't do these certain things because they've hit that age.
Yes.
And because of all these different obstacles, or feeling like they need to compare themselves to someone who is their junior, they're 20 or 30 years old, or even in their 40s. Can you talk to us about overcoming some of those challenges that many might face when they're on this journey in their 50s and over?
Yeah. And so really what happens is society, first of all, it's society's narrative. So society has this narrative that they kind of push, sometimes kind of subtly, that we really don't matter when we hit 50. And so my goal is really to help women kind of change that and not accept that story as theirs. And it really involves practicing, because if you go with a narrative, you probably won't do anything. And so I encourage women to take the next best decision that they can make for themselves, because when they don't make decisions, they feel stuck. And so my advice is always, what can you do? What's like the next best thing you can do for yourself, like right now? That's it.
And really quickly too, because I remember when Oprah started talking about the aha moment, and a lot of people started talking about that too when they had their own aha moment. Can you talk to us about your aha moment and how that feeling came about?
Yeah, and mine was really that invisible thing, because I'll be honest with you, up until that point, I had no idea it existed. And so when women started telling me that, I went and now started doing research, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is actually a thing. But the beautiful thing that came out of that was I knew that I had to do this. Like, I had to be that person out there encouraging women that, you know what, being invisible might be what society kind of pushes on you, but you don't have to accept it as your story. And I tell women that we're all meant to be seen, heard, and valued. And so my goal is to kind of help women be visible. And I totally understand that not everyone wants to be like front stage visible, or, some people want front stage visibility, some people want middle of the road visibility, and some people want backstage visibility. But we all want to be visible in some way. And my goal is to help women the best way I can to actually be able to achieve that.
Well, Kwavi, thank you so much for joining us and helping to empower women and being such a phenomenal woman yourself.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And you can check out Kwavi's inspirational videos on TikTok. Just follow her at Kwavi_TV.